Okay. Hello and welcome back for another exciting translation of the final aspects of the meditation chapter. Um, I was trying to get through it all today, but I think we're just going to take us a little bit because I have a lot to say about it. So where we are in the text is we're now at a point, we're kind of like, and this is kind of like I'd say a theoretical point, right? Like what happens when you get to the ninth level of meditation, where you can reach that place of namshak, like balanced meditation, samadhi, which is balance between two things: balance between agitation and dullness, between a busy mind and a dull mind. So finding that balanced place, right? And once you arrive there, the 9 stages is about getting to that place where you can just sit without any conscious effort and stay on your meditation object. And then where we're describing is then there's a little bit more to push. You still need to keep pushing. And let me just tell you that you always need to keep pushing, right? Like there's a whole section in the Illumination of True Thought describing like eighth level bodhisattvas, like super high bodhisattvas. And there's a point where they get like, they call it the tap. They get a tap on the shoulder. It's like, hey, you're doing really good. It's like, you're doing great, but there's still more to go. Like, and like, a Buddha will come up and just be like, you're not there yet. Keep going. Right. And it's the same with, it's the same in meditation. Sure, you get to a place of balanced meditation, which feels great and it's wonderful and it's relaxing and rejuvenating, and mental afflictions seem to have fade a bit at that point, but you still need more. And that's what this part of the discussion we're in. What's the more, right? You need more. And so what starts happening is you habituate yourself to this state, samadhi. And as you habituate, things begin to change within your mind and your body. And that habituation brings us to a place we're not at full shamatha yet. Like, it's like you're on the airplane, and any of you who are pilots, like, there's like, as you're going down the runway, there's a point of no return. It's called V1, right? And if you hit that, once you hit that velocity, you basically, you're committed to taking off. No matter what else, no matter what else is going on, you are taking off. That airplane is taking off, right? Before that, you can abort the takeoff and everything's fine, right? But at that point, once you hit V1, then you're committed to the takeoff. So it's kind of like reaching shamatha, or excuse me, samadhi is like reaching that V1, like that velocity, that takeoff velocity, right? And at that point, you start, like, the plane, you know, there's enough lift to get the plane off the ground, basically, and you're committed to it. So then you're starting to get off the ground, but you haven't reached cruising altitude yet, right? You're just getting off the ground. So then there's certain things that happen inside of you that they within your pranic body that changes the way you're experiencing your mind and your body, physical body, your mind. And you reach this, and that's when you can you finally reach samadhi, or excuse me, you finally reach shamatha. Okay, so there's this like between takeoff, right? You're taking off V1, rotate, going up and getting to the cruising altitude, right? And what is that cruising altitude? It's technically the meditation level is called michokme, which means without no time, which is where your mind begins to enter the preliminary stage of the form realm. We'll talk about it in a second. But you're climbing up to, like, you're basically climbing up to that level, michokme. And once you arrive at that level, your mind and body, the pleasure of meditation, the intensity of meditation is so strong, you become absorbed into the object. And then you can move into, you reach a state where then you're able to see emptiness directly. See, so how do we go from V1 rotate, right, up to this cruising altitude? That's where we're at. We're in the middle of that discussion. And we talked about the order that happens in. So just to review, let's see here. I just want to make sure I got the order right. Okay, so the first thing that happens is your body, excuse me. So make sure I got this all right. Right. So the first thing that happens is that undesirable physical states are put to rest. So your body starts to feel pretty damn good. The pains in your body stop. You're able to sit for long periods of time. You don't get up and you're not like groaning, right? Although there is an experience of coming down from that, which then you're like, damn it, I'm still stuck in this body. But so the physical pleasure comes first. All right. And we talked about it as like a warm hand, a touch of weight on the brain, like you're getting a massage from your you're getting a massage from your hairstylist. Like you're at the salon and they put their warm hand on your head, right? And then what arises from this because of this physical pleasure that arises in the body, our mind stops, for the time being, stops going to a negative emotions. And it's then urged towards doing good things automatically. See. So first your body feels pretty damn good. And then your mind is like, oh, like the sensations of the body are such that the mind is not capable, coerced, maybe it's just not possible to have negative emotions in that moment. It doesn't mean that you're an arhat. It doesn't mean that you've cleared all that stuff away, but your body feels so good that like your mind is like, cool. Maybe that's it. Your mind's like, and you can relate. I can relate to this in my daily life. When my body feels good, my mind is like, yeah. But give me a day when my back hurts, or last night I was getting into bed and I smashed my toe against something, and I fell over and I, cursed up a storm and blah, 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 I just tripped on something. So, but then your mind is not like, your mind's not having a good moment, right? You're not like, oh, that feels pleasurable, right? You know, but so your body feels good, then of course your mind will feel good. That makes sense to me, right? And your mind is urged toward this idea that it only wants to do good things. It's an interesting karma. Like you feel good and you're not like, oh, let's go rob a bank. Like your mind's like, oh, let's think about high objects. Let's think about serving people. Let's think about, seeing emptiness directly or something like that. Okay. That's where we left it off. Our mind has reached that level of pliancy, right? And now we're on the next 234. Let's get moving here. Tracy, I'm going to have you read the first one here. Okay. So we're on 234.
Te tu lu shin chang drempe rung lu la kyapar gyupe na lu ki nge ngen len dang drel ne lu gewe jewala nser nyeng me par jin du kel nupa Shin Bao Shin Yang Wei Lu Shin Chang Kie.
Pal. So this is more, it's not Bal, it's more of a P sound. Xing
Bao
Pal. It's like
Shin
Pel,
Pao.
almost like an unaspirated P. Pel. Pel.
Oh,
It's something like, it's not unaspirated, but it's has a little bit of a PEL pronunciation.
thank you.
Sure. Good job. All right. So our bodies are feeling excellent. Yes. Right. No pain, no suffering, nothing to complain about, no stub toes. And then your mind moves into the mental pliancy where it's urged on only towards good deeds. So by the power too, right, of the body and Xinjiang, right? Xinjiang meaning the mental pliancy brought on by the power of the body. Okay. This is what then brings on the experience of physical pliancy. So what happens is the inner body, the winds in the body, the prana, right? Once your mind gets to this place of only a place of doing good deeds, which is the kind of mental pliancy only directed towards the virtuous, that activates by that power, it automatically activates a different wind in the body. It activates a different pranic pathway, maybe. And then that frees us from any kind of bad physical state entirely. Okay. So the distinction here is that the body feels good. Then the mind reaches the pliancy. And by the power of that, then it frees us from any desirable physical states. Okay. So, which is interesting is that the good pleasure brings upon a state of mind that's free of all of that, free of negative emotions for the time being, which then triggers the body to be free from any kind of undesirable state. All right. And so that's when we reach Xinjiang of the body, Lu, physical pliancy, right? And they say it, your body will start to feel like young one, light as cotton, Xinjiao, Xinpel. Xingpel is cotton, right? So at first you have pleasure in your body, then your mind goes to this state, which then activates a different wind, which then brings our body into mental pliance or physical pliancy. And that is a sensation that the body is like, imagine like cotton being blown in the wind, right? You're just light. It's light and fluffy. I don't know if fluffy is like an official word in Tibetan, but it's, you know, like little cotton balls, right? Right. And that brings about our body is now ready to go only on virtuous things. Okay. We'll make use of that body, like kowa. The body will be used for virtuous things only at that point, without any kind of hesitation. All right. Like you won't go, I'm not going to help that old lady because my knee hurts. Your knee won't even hurt. The old lady needs help and you just go and help her. Things like that. Right. But of course, you're in deep meditation at this point. So, it's not like you get up and help people in that way. But I kind of imagine that once you become habituated to this state, that you can maintain meditation in your waking life. I mean, your life off of the cushion. It's not what the text says, but I kind of imagine that if you can maintain meditation, I mean, this is what a Buddha is like. A Buddha is directly in the perception of emptiness and directly perceiving the deceptive world at the same time, past, present, and future, and then helping in an Nirmanakaya. So somewhere in there, you know, figure it out. All right. 235. The next one on my list is Francisco.
Ela tena reshin to the pay rashin
Anyway,
due pay rashin kangilu shingyaki tepe ni kenpoke.
good. So after we've done that, due to that, relying upon that state. So here we go. Physical pleasure, mental pliancy, body physical pliancy, and then this goes into now your body has a pure sensation of bliss throughout the whole thing. Okay. Arises a great feeling of bliss, great sensation of bliss of the physical pliancy. Okay. And then it spreads through your entire body. Right. So it's like physical pleasure brings on the mental state. The mental state then brings on the physical state. And the physical state then moves into the feeling of pure bliss through the whole body. Seems pretty cool, right? Let's see what Abonka has to say next. Who's next? Marina, can you read 236, please?
Tatung Nyampa Shekper Rank Lola Sokpe Nanvad Shenkan Yinmi Charvar Lo Kyang Mik Ten Platim Nyam Chen
Chan.
Cha Chan Kisem Shin
I'm sorry,
Chan
I was on a different word. I'm sorry, you were correct. This is Chen.
Chan Chen Kisem Shin Chanki gate de nyam
Dei.
de nyam shenpo
Dei. Dei.
de
Nice.
de.
Nice.
Thank you. Nyam chenpo ki
Okay.
nes
Okay.
yeah yeah ne sem ga jalva mik par ne mi huplatavu chunk.
Good job. All right. Okay, so if we by staying in this meditation for a very, very long time, it will feel like our body and if we'll feel like our body and everything else has dissolved, Tim, right, into the meditation object. And that we cannot have any other kind of appearance happening. So it's almost like because of this mental physical pliancy, the bliss of the body, the bliss of the mind, the bliss of the body, it feels like you've dissolved. And this word, Tim, is very important, very important in the diamond way as well. Like the dissolution of the elements, dissolving into emptiness, removing all appearances into itself. Okay. So this is a good thing to watch out for a little bit later. So, and it's another example of Pabonka Rinpoche kind of weaving in diamond way without saying it, right? So you're dissolving into the meditation object. It feels like everything, your mind and body, become the object. There's nothing else but that. Okay. And so from all of this happening, from the great bliss, right? The great feeling of pleasure, which arises because of this mental pliancy, right? So it's like it's like the it's like that feeling of when you are taking off on an airplane, right? And you can feel the acceleration, you can feel um, you can feel as you're moving up in altitude, right? You can feel that, like you almost it's like you can feel all of that happening, right? You know, and if the pilot hits it too hard, or there's some reason why they have to accelerate, or you know, and you feel it even more where you're pushed back in your seat and you can feel the weight of your body, right? It's kind of, it doesn't feel like weight because we're light as cotton, right? But the pleasure feels like it feels overwhelming. So from having this mental pleasure where then you are dissolved into the object entirely. This is a really cool expression. Semga yawawa. Semga yawawa, right? The pleasure becomes overwhelming. And yayawa kind of means like millions and millions as a number, right? So it's just like the pleasure just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And it almost feels like you're going to lose the meditation object because the pleasure is too intense. You see, so like it increases, and you're dissolved into it. And it's just like, it's almost like do I say that? Hold on. The point of no return before an orgasm. Okay. Once it flips over, it's too late. or it's too good, or whatever you want to, however you want to describe it. Right? It's like too much, right? And that's the feeling. It's too much that you would lose the meditation object. Hey, get off the table. Come on, get done. Whatever. There she is. She's getting old lady. She doesn't care anymore. She's like, I'm gonna do what I want. So anyway, hey, yeah, I need you to get on the table. I don't want you to get down. So that's where we go. Like it gets so intense that like where you were previously in meditation, where agitation could take you off the object, or that your nar is too intense, then you would fall off the object. That's what this experience is like. It's almost too much. But Pawan Rinpoche has a little bit of advice for us. How about Ludmila?
Tene semshin chanki ga yal wate chun san ne dewa chunto son yam pata wun nan nesem mikpala dan parne petin tsentan cheso tunpe shin chan mi kyowa topatan.
Miyoa. So the G is silent. Miyoa.
Miyoa.
Good job. Nice. Your reading's excellent. Okay, so at that point where you feel like it might be the point of no return, this would be Tim's commentary when he writes one. But what happens is the overwhelming pleasure of the mental pliancy, the Sem Xinjiang mental pliancy, the pleasure, Yaliowa, right? All of that intense pleasure will begin to dissipate a bit. It's almost like you gom it. You get accustomed to it. All right. So then it's no longer a big deal. It's like, yeah, it's like when you're accelerating in that airplane, right? And you're accelerating as you're increasing altitude. Once the acceleration stops, you stop sensing the increase of altitude, right? Like it's only the change of acceleration where you have a sensation. The speed at which we're hurtling through the galaxy, right, on this planet is extraordinary. I don't know what the number is. Let's look it up. But we certainly don't feel it. Let's find out. Okay. So the Earth rotates at about 1,000 kilometers per hour. All right. And the Earth, that's just the rotation speed. Now, the Earth moving around the sun is about 107 kilometers per hour. And then the sun is also rotating around the Milky Way at about 515 miles per hour, which is what, 700 kilometers per hour? And then the Milky Way itself is moving at almost 2 million kilometers per hour. Okay. So that's how fast you're moving currently. Okay. Plus the universe is expanding apparently. So that's the amount. This is how fast you are moving at this moment. Do you sense it? No. If something were to collapse in gravitational forces, we would feel it and the planet would be ripped apart because you're moving way too fast, right? But so it's once you reach the habituated speed, you don't feel it anymore. Thank God we don't feel that speed, right? So like as you're increasing that pleasure and that pleasure is increasing, eventually it doesn't increase anymore, and then you're able to get used to it and it feels like it dissipates a bit. Like you pull off the accelerator just a bit, the acceleration stops. How about that? So then you're able to manage it. And so when we get there, what's the word for unshakable? Hold on, I just want to look up something. Immovable, unshakable. Yes. Okay. So you achieve, once you get there, miyoa, which means unshakable, which is also interestingly the name of the 8th bodhisattva level, if anyone cares. So there's a lot of things going on here. It doesn't mean when you get there, you're an 8th level bodhisattva, but just know that there's some similarities, right? You reach an unshakable pliancy, right? So we said unshakable, meaning it's immovable. You are there. It is not going anywhere, right? And you're maintaining tremendous meditative focus on the object. All right. That's kind of cool. Yay. Now we're at the next part, which is the important part. Now you've done all this work. Now you've reached a place where you're able to then trigger the direct perception of emptiness, which is a weird way of saying it. So let's see here. Laura, are you translating? Okay, Anastasia, 238, please.
Tunyam du samten tan poi nyel tok mi lo meki dupe shine tokpai.
All right, that was an auspicious line to read. So we have achieved shamatha, okay? You've achieved shamatha, which is then called michokme. All right. And it's the preliminary stage, dangpo ner, of the first level of concentration. Okay, samten is this is a word for meditation, but it also refers to the first concentration level in the form realm. All right, this is the names that we give to it. All right. So at that time, right? At that time. So then you reach this thing called michokme. This is the platform where we can then see emptiness directly. Let's talk about this platform, 239. Who's the next picture? Natalia. 239, please.
Dini jikten dan jikten ladas pai tokpa manpo topa lamet tabmet pailam inpa milokmet zer.
Nice. Okay, let's work on a few word pronunciations. And they all end in these S's. All right. There's la, and you put the S on it, it gets pronounced like, like that, lay. Same thing with this one. So lay, day. Okay. And then what was the other word? This one as well, pay. All right. It's kind of confusing because it's not a normal S sound when we have Roman letters. Okay. So lay, day, pay. And then in other cases, it's silent, like this one, tub. And this one, choke, right? So you gotta just get used to it. And your reading's very good. All right, so we give it's ser, we give it the name michokme without no time, okay? Because that sa can mean because, all right? Because this is something we cannot do without if we want to achieve all the many realizations. Okay, Tokpa realizations, Mangpo is many. And what type of realizations? Both of the realizations of this world, Jigten, and beyond this world, Jigten Lede, Depa. What other expression has this word day in it? It's the word of it's a name for a Buddha, and it's also the Tibetan for nirvana. Right, but what is it in Tibetan, the full expression? Barbu. What's the full expression? Give you guys a quick send. Thank you. Roxana put it in the chat. Not yet. I can't do these. This is pronunciation that Tim does not do well. And I flatly out admit my deficiencies. Nya nyen le depa. Okay. That's nirvana. And then there's Chomdende, which is the conqueror. Bhagavan.
Bhagavan.
Yeah. Bhagavan, Chomdende. Down. Come on. All right. So of this world, realizations of this world, and realizations beyond day, gone beyond this world. All right. And so that's why we call it without no time. And I'm guessing what that means, right? Because realizations that are of this world and beyond this world might be realizations beyond time. Maybe. You can think about it. All right. So we need that to be able to see emptiness directly. What else do we need to learn about this? Sana, can you read the next line, please?
Yes. Then I.
Good.
Yeah. Dog. P.
Chima.
Chi ma nam group nai rim gi sam chuk
Suk.
zuk kid ka give
Droop.
na ang to nu mut on kieng go goi
Go.
Pa,
Pa.
Pa, Nung,
Chung.
Tung, Vai,
Good.
Rang, Re, Da, Ki, Pa, Nin, Ching,
Ching. Good job. Nice. All right. Good job. And just for all the pronunciation people, in this previous line, we talked about day, right? Talked about pay. We talked about lay. Unfortunately, it doesn't follow in a word like this that has an ends in a vowel, right? It's not gui. It's just g. So that sa is silent, kind of. So, but you all get used to it. All right, here we go. At that point when you reach mi chok me, all right? We could continue on to the other 8 through all 8 concentration levels of the form and formless realm. We could work to get to that. All right. There are 8 levels, total 8 levels. So we're in the first part of the form realm. We could go through the rest of the first all the way up through the 8th. Okay. Admittedly, we could do that. All right. We could do that. However, he uses a really he said there isn't much point. There isn't a great point to do this. Okay. Because this sa here. And he uses a great expression, rangre. Here's Pabonka Rinpoche saying, us guys, we don't have to do that. Like Pabonka Rinpoche is making himself equal to the rest of the audience, right? We don't really need to do that. We don't need to focus on that, developing that level of concentration. Okay. Because it doesn't really help. It doesn't help us do anything else. Sure, it feels good. Sure, it's a deeper level. Sure, it's more and more subtle. But it doesn't really add any value. Why? Because if you don't see emptiness directly, it just becomes a sansaric delight, right? It just feels better and better and better. You get distracted by less and less. Like the objects become more and more subtle. Each level becomes less of a distraction, basically, right? But he's saying here, look, get to the preliminary level of the form realm, and then turn your sights on emptiness. You don't have to go any further than that, because otherwise you're just wasting your time. Okay. Now, we have in this particular, at this time, we have also learned a meditation which helps us helps us to learn a little bit about these 8 levels. Does anyone remember what it is? It's the lion stance meditation, right, Tracy? And that meditation comes from the book that I'm translating, Jewel of Realizations. Maitreya taught it. And then it's also in Utpala's book, Interlude on Emptiness. And it's a great meditation to help you explore different states of mind. and being able to move your mind between more subtle and more gross states. But there's only a certain value to that up to a certain point, and then otherwise you're wasting your time. That's what Maitreya says. So if you're doing the lion's dance meditation, unless you have reached shamatha, great meditation. But if you've already reached shamatha, there's no reason to do it because you should be doing something else. It's a way to bring on those various states of mind, learning to become accustomed to states of more and more subtle states of mind so you can activate them automatically. And if you've ever been to any of my yoga classes, this is actually what we talk about. Is how to reach those states of, like, for example, talking about deep states of relaxation, to call it on immediately in Shavasana. But can you bring on that deep state of relaxation when you're not in Shavasana? Can you shift your prana in your body automatically? Kind of like that. All right, 241. Jackie, I don't think you read last week.
Hero, Pani, Siam, Ledman, Hadkian, Mangyan Yer, Hamsad, Ang Ti, Rizi Sam, Hodna, Harpa, Abharzing, Yang Jezam, Korba, Lemi, Rolba.
Nice. Your reading's getting great too. I don't know what you guys are all doing. Good job. All right. So Chiropa. Who are the Chiropas? Tracy, you know who the Chiropas are? No, they're the non-Buddhists. Okay. All right. Meaning someone who, again, I don't like, I said this in my earlier class, I don't like calling things like this, but other systems, okay? Other systems outside of this one, all right? But literally that's what it means, non-Buddhist, okay? Is that basically say we should try to eliminate Pang, all the tamches, right? We should try to eliminate all forms, manifest forms of negative emotions. Okay. Just want to check something up before I screw it up. Okay. We should try to achieve all manifest forms of negative emotions. From this level, Chiangmei, I think that's what it means. Yes, nothing at all. So the highest level, close to highest level, nothing at all, and everything below it, Manche. All right. So basically what they're saying is these non-Buddhists, these other systemers are saying, look, no, actually you need to keep going up in those meditation levels so you can pung all of them, tamche, all of those obvious mental afflictions. That's how they are claiming that's how you get rid of those negative emotions. And why is that not a bad claim? Why is it not a bad claim to say that we need to remove all manifest negative emotions? And you can do that by moving into these more subtle states of meditation.
Why not?
You want to try? Okay. When you're in that deep state of meditation, are you capable of having those negative emotions? No, you can't have them. It's impossible to have them. Because why? Because you're meditating, right? And so this claim isn't bad, because direct experience will say, look, I'm not having any negative emotions. I'm not having any negativities. I'm doing great. Duh. And what they even say even further is that once you get rid of all of those obvious negative emotions, you achieve a kind of freedom, right? A freedom comes from that, and that level is called sise, peak of existence, right? So that's the highest level you can go in meditation. All right. And what Pabonka says is, sure, yes, you're not having any negative emotions at that time, right? But it's not enough to free you from korwa, from samsara, right? This is not enough to be able to do that. All right. So that's why, again, each of these stages of explanation, why are we taking so much time to go through this? If we're quite honest, where are we in the meditation chart? Are you in level 1, level 2, maybe level 3? Maybe possibly at level 4. Okay. Wrong rate. The rest of us, right? Those of us, right, who are like normal meditators, we're so far away from this spot. Actually, you're actually not as far away as you think. So don't get upset with yourself. That's why we do deep retreat, by the way. But he's saying, look, each step of the way, you have to know what the instruction is. And if you've been following along, Pabonka has been giving us instructions. Okay, you're level 1, you're level 2, level 3. What do you have to pay attention to in your practice? If you can habitually get into shamatha, right, probably you're going to like it. I'm just saying, right? I've been making this new tea from Japan, usu tea. Basically, you buy this jelly and you put it in the tea, right? Heat it up, and then it's like this sweet, fruity tea, right? If I'm drinking usu tea all day long, I'm pretty damn happy, right? It's pleasurable. It's, the smell of it, the taste of it, like just all of it brings me joy. But if I just drank fruit all day long in a hot tea, is that all that I need? Probably not. I need more. The pleasure doesn't the pleasure doesn't take away from the fact that I still need other nutrients and I still need other foods to be able to survive. Right? Same thing here is like, sure, the pleasure is great and wonderful and exciting and addicting in a way. But then you have to do more, right? And that's why at that point, having these instructions that says, okay, what do I need to do now to keep moving, to keep getting that tap on the shoulder to say, good job. You got a trophy, keep going, right? You got to keep going. Otherwise, you just get stuck in samsara. And the worst thing is that if you stay in a meditation like that and keep going and going and going and going, and it gets better and better and better, what are you burning up? You're burning up all your good karma correctly, right? So what happens at the end of those, when you burn that up? You might even be reborn in the formless realm or in the form realm. That's great. But what will happen? Eventually, all those seeds will burn up, and then what's left? Fire and brimstone or something like that. Right? So you need someone to keep poking you and say, hey, you're doing great. Now move on. Keep moving forward. Speaking of which, let's do. By the way, we're in the final section here. We're not going to finish today. Let me just make sure I have this. All right. And now Pabonka Rinpoche is like, hey, let's see what others have to say about it. You don't have to take my word for it. How about Sana? Can you read this line? I think your microphone's off. Oops, seems like microphone's not working. That's a good way not to have to read. Good job. My microphone doesn't work. Oh, there it goes. Yes,
Sorry.
that's fine.
Nag.
Knock.
Nag.
Knock. Yes. Knock. Knockte.
Nag.
Mhm.
Ngag. Tod. Lei.
Nice. Oh, she got the first. We'll just start. We'll just start with that first line. You did very well on that one. So this is from a scripture. The praise of what deserves praise. Okay, so this is a title here. Let's see who's next. Who wants to read? Svetlana, can you read the poetry here, please?
Kia ke chula mi chokpe kiewo timuk gi dongpa si tse wardo song nek yang duk niel yang chung si padrup.
Okay. All right. I don't think there was anything to correct there. Good job. And she read it in meter as well, right? So when you see poetry, the way you read poetry in Tibetan is usually you can see it because it has lines. Each line has the same number of syllables. This one has 7. Each of these have 7, okay? So you read 2 at a time. Chuki, chilla, and then when there's 3 left, mi chokpa, kewo, timuk, gidongpa, sise, pardu, songne kyang, duknyao, yangjung, sipe drup. All right, so it's like bumpa, bumpa, 1, 2, 3. All right. All right, so from this sutra, it says, there are people who are blinded by ignorance. Okay. And they don't have any attachment to the Dharma that you teach. Okay. They may be able to get as far as Sise, to the peak of existence, but all they have achieved is the cycle of pain and the return to ignorance, the return to suffering. Right. So in this sutra, it's basically saying they're not listening to the teacher. They're like, no, but I can go deeper. I can do better. Does anyone know any students like that? No, I don't know any, including myself. No, but I can do more. Don't listen to the teachings. Don't listen to the instructions. I can do more. And they may get really far, like the peak of existence, Sise, but all they're doing is creating more suffering. Let me tell you guys something that we're done pretty much anyhow. You get the instructions, and then you do whatever you want, and then you get the results that the instructions tell you you're going to get. All right. I did this in retreat once. I was told not to do something, and I did it anyway. I was like, I wonder why they told me not to do this. Let me try it. And I did it. And I got tremendous lung for like 3 days. Couldn't sleep. My head was extremely hot. I couldn't focus on anything. And then I was like, oh, duh. That's why they said don't do that. And then I had to follow the instructions on how to fix the problem, right? So don't think you're immune from not following the teacher's instructions. That's why they tell us we're not going to. We'll go do something and then it'll be like, oh shit. That's why they told me not to do that. That's why mommy told me not to put my hand on the hot stove. All right. But you put your hand on the hot stove and then you understand why mom told you not to do that. Eventually, maybe after doing that enough, you'll see that maybe the teaching was right and that you should follow it. And maybe things will be a lot easier for you. Just saying, maybe you're making it more difficult than it has to be. That's a good line. Maybe you're making it more difficult than it has to be. Okay, with that, let's just put this to rest for the day. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, translators. Thank you, tech team. I appreciate you as always. We are looking, if you weren't in the first class, we are looking for people who can help us with our weekly emails in all languages and being able to send them out. So if you'd like to volunteer for that, it's somewhere here. Let me find the link. It's chat way too much. Just kidding. Where's the chat? There it is. Okay. Please, there it is. Thank you, Anastasia. So thank you all very much. Keep meditating. It's not as hard as you think, or you're making it harder than it has to be. Bye. Say goodbye to each other. See you next week, or see you on Thursday. Excuse me.
Bye, Tim. Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Bukchachen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Безмежно дякую.
Please stay, please stay, please stay.
Have a wonderful day. Bye. Good night to some of you. Rest well.